This is Fedora KDE, and honestly, it's one of the best Linux distribution you can install today. But if you have just installed Fedora, don't start downloading random apps yet. There are a few things you should do first that will make your system faster, cleaner, and much more enjoyable to use. So in this video, I'll show you everything I do after installing Fedora KDE. One of the best things about Linux is the freedom it gives you. Unlike Windows, you are not stuck with the default setup. You can customize almost everything and build a system that perfectly matches your workflow. So today, I'll show you exactly how I set up Fedora KDE after a fresh installation. We will speed up package downloads, install a better browser, enable multimedia support, and even set a battery charging limit to help improve long-term battery health. Every command I use will be available in the description, so you can simply copy and paste them. Now let's start with the very first thing I do after installing Fedora. The very first thing I do is update the entire system. Even if you have just installed Fedora, there are usually newer packages, security patches, and bug fixes waiting to be installed. Updating first ensures that everything else we install later works on the latest version. Depending on your internet speed, this might take a few minutes. Once that's finished, we can move on to something I change on every Linux installation. Now, don't get me wrong, Firefox is a great browser. It's open source, privacy focused, and comes pre-installed with Fedora. But personally, I prefer something that's a little more minimal and Chromium based. That's why I use Helium. Helium is lightweight, clean, and doesn't come packed with unnecessary features that I will never use. Since I am on Fedora, I'll first add the repository and then install the browser. After installing it, there are two quick changes I always make. First, I switch to vertical tabs. The second thing I do is change the default search engine. Instead of Google, I use Start Page. The reason is simple. Start Page gives you Google quality search results while adding an extra layer of privacy by not building a personal profile around your searches. It keeps the search experience clean, familiar, and without unnecessary distractions. Unfortunately, you can't simply select Start Page from the default list in Helium, so you will need to add it manually using its search URL. I'll leave that URL in the description to make things easier. Now that the browser is ready, let's make Fedora itself install software much faster. By default, Fedora downloads packages once at a time. That works, but we can make it much faster with just two small changes. First, I am enabling parallel downloads. Instead of downloading one package at a time, Fedora can now download multiple packages simultaneously. The second option tells Fedora to automatically choose one of the fastest mirror available instead of randomly picking one. Type Ctrl+O, then enter to save, and Ctrl+X to exit. That's literally it. 2 lines and DNF becomes much faster. I like running one more update afterwards, so the new DNF settings are used immediately. So far we have updated Fedora, set up our browser, and made DNF much faster. Now let's unlock one of the most important things missing from a fresh Fedora installation. Fedora ships with only free and open source software by default, which is great, but because of licensing restrictions, some software, drivers, and multimedia packages aren't included out of the box. That's where RPM Fusion comes in. RPM Fusion is a trusted community repository that gives you access to software Fedora can't include by default. Copy and paste these commands one by one in the terminal. Once RPM Fusion is enabled, we will update the repository one more time. Now we have access to a lot more software than before, and that brings us to another thing that many people notice after installing Fedora. Sometimes you will notice that certain videos don't play properly or hardware acceleration doesn't work as expected. That's because Fedora doesn't include every multimedia codec by default. Installing multimedia codecs gives your system much better compatibility with different audio and video formats. It's basically a one-time setup that saves you from headaches later. The first command replaces Fedora's limited FMPEG package with the full version available through RPM Fusion. The second command installs additional multimedia packages that most people will eventually need anyway. Once that's done, your system is ready for almost any media file you throw at it. Now, let's make installing applications even easier. Fedora already supports Flatpak, but adding Flathub gives you access to one of the biggest application libraries available on Linux. You will find thousands of applications here that are easy to install and stay up to date. After adding Flathub, I recommend restarting your computer once. To make sure everything is working, let's install an application. I'll install KDE Live because it's the video editor I currently use for editing all of my YouTube videos. And there we go, everything is working perfectly. And finally, probably one of the most useful things I do on my laptop. If you mostly use your laptop while it's plugged in, keeping the battery charged to 100% all the time can slowly reduce its lifespan over the years. That's why I limit the maximum charging percentage. For my laptop, I use an 80% charge limit. This helps reduce unnecessary battery wear while still giving me plenty of battery life whenever I unplug the charger. Of course, not every laptop supports battery charge limits, so whether this works depends on your hardware. And that's it. In just a few minutes, we have taken a fresh Fedora installation and turned it into something that's faster, cleaner, and much better suited for everyday use. But we are not stopping here. In the next video, I'm going to customize this Fedora KDE desktop into something much cleaner, more minimal, and honestly a lot better looking. And after that, I'll also be making a video on the best Linux application I actually use every single day, along with a few hidden gems that deserve a lot more attention. So if you don't want to miss those videos, make sure to subscribe. If this guide helped you, leave a like, it really helps the channel, and let me know if you want more Linux content like this. And while you are waiting for the next video, you can check out my Fedora KDE customization guide right here. Thanks for watching, this is TermNode and I'll see you in the next one.